I had another dream. This one I was in Hollywood, and I was looking north, um, up toward the Hollywood Hills, and I could see the Hollywood sign, and I've seen it many times, so I know what it looks like. Um, but I was near Melrose and Gower, which puts me, you know, not really far away, but far enough, you know, miles away from the hill. Um, and as I was looking at the Hollywood sign at a distance, I could see flames, and mm, could have been Hollywood Boulevard, Franklin, somewhere in that range, up there. And I saw the orange glow, I saw the flames, but it was more than that. It was kind of like it was breathing in and out, you know. And um, I see cracks in the ground, big cracks, just running all through the concrete, through the streets. The buildings had cracks in them. Um, and then I realized, as I was looking at the flames, it was lava coming up. And then my nose itches. I looked to the right and to the east of Hollywood, and it was in Silver Lake, and I could see flames there and glowing as well, and same with the same pulsing, like it was spewing up, and you could see it spitting up and stuff flying places, but it was only located to those two areas. And as I was looking up, the earth shook violently, like somebody took something and just went la da da da, like that, right? And I was like, oh my gosh! And then the whole entire mountain range, um, it just kind of like it didn't blow up, but as it was shaking, massive boulders and rocks, you know, and all the mountains were starting to fall and turn into these rubble and massive boulders, and the mountains were being torn apart and dust. And then as the boulders started to fall back down to the ground, where the mountains were, um, there was another quake. And this quake sent the boulders and rocks just rolling down like an avalanche from the north and rolling towards where the lava was. Um, and then the scene changed. Second dream, and this was last night. I was in Hawaii, in an office building that was up on the side of the hill, not a hill, but a mountain. And there was a road, and the mountain went up, and then there was the office building, and then it went down a little bit, and there was a plateau with some grass, like a field, and then it went down even farther off a cliff into a ravine, So it was a building that was up there on the side of the mountain. And then I was in the office building, and I was packing boxes and getting my stuff ready to leave and stuff. And the coworkers asked me, said, "Are you really leaving?" Like, and it felt like, "Do you have to go?" And one of them asked me, said, "Do you really have to go?" And I answered him, said, "Yeah, it's my time. I'm finished with what work I had to do here. I'm done, and it's time to move on." And I noticed to my right there was a copy machine, and it kept going off, making copies, but it was flashing. And a bright white light flashed, and a bright white light flashed. Nobody was really paying attention to it, but I noticed it out of the corner of my eye. And then suddenly I was on the mountain road, between the office building to my right, and then looking up the mountain to my left. And there was kind of an overhang. And in the area where I was, it was like thick vegetation, like a jungle, but not quite. I mean, it's like rural Hawaii. If you've ever been to Hawaii, the cities are nice, but when you go out into the country or whatever, there's a lot of bamboo and other types of plants, vegetation, pretty lush and green, you know. Um, And I noticed when I looked up to the north side of the road to my left, there was an overhang. Um, and they would cut these roads into the mountain, and the overhang would hang over, and there was grass on top and everything else. So the mountain continued up with vegetation, and and it was like there wasn't any other buildings around. So to the when you go down the road, there was an opening basically that had grass and dirt, and that went down the side of the mountain uh, toward where the back of the office was, and you could see grass and a little plateau and sitting area and stuff. And then there was like trees, bamboo and stuff, and then it went down even farther, right? Um, so as I was there was two other people standing there, off to the side with the dirt next to the building, you know. And then all of a sudden, there was like it felt like an explosion over the top, over the top of the overhang to the top of the mountain. There was an explosion. I mean, you could hear it, you could feel it, you know. And at first I thought, oh, it's an earthquake, because they have earthquakes in Hawaii. But then I realized that was no earthquake. That was too big, too violent. That was a volcano. I said, oh no. Um, so I yelled at the two people. It's like, hey, you got to run. You know, don't stand there um, where the overhang is, because it was soft dirt. And there was another jolt. And all of a sudden, when the people were standing, it just kind of did one of these and went down. And they fell with it. And it just slid down the hill like an avalanche, of dirt and everything else. I didn't see them anymore, you know. And that was sudden. That was really quick. And all of a sudden, I was in the back of the with a little plateau sitting area behind the office, and there were people coming out of the office area, and they kind of turned around and looked up to the top of the mountain, and I'm like, guys, keep running. You got to get down the hill. You can't stay here. And they just kind of froze, and they were looking up to the top of the hill, and I mean, I got the feeling in my spirit, it's like, oh, this is not good, and then I woke up. So you tell me.